and I don't know how long the battery will last, but I'm gonna go do a drive-through of the car. I haven't done a super long podcast, but this device seems to work under certain conditions. So I'm gonna be talking about another podcast on like why I have decided ultimately not to go to school. I was thinking about this, at least for now. And I've been thinking about what's up with retail and what's up with people. I did a pillow talk on this, I think, this morning about it. And what I just realized is if you want to make school and work pay out, like at least if you want to be safe, it's really impossible to make school and work pay off, right? Because if you can't do your job fast enough, your employer, word of mouth gets through, right? Your employer spreads bad rumors, and they're pretty direct about it. Right, they say, hey, if you can't work fast, I don't really want that person to get hired for their new bachelor's degree job, right? What worth are they? There is no work-life balance. That's, at least in my point of view. Now, unless you can work fast and do the schoolwork well, that's a different story. Work-life balance is a luxury that only exists for certain things. That's why back then the corporation and the school system were so interconnected. They're so married together. Right, they are married together. If they are not married together, then you cannot have, it's not sustainable. Like, that's why the employment numbers are all bogus, right? That's why it's all fake news. Because people have forgotten, because a lot of people suck at retail jobs. Okay, if you suck at retail jobs, you're never going to get a job with your college degree. They don't have to bar you. You know what they have to do to get people to blacklist you? Because we live in an artificial society. All they have to say is, hey, this is a shit worker who complains a lot about their work. You see those Amazon workers, right? They're in school, right? If you're hearing this, Gracie, you complain a lot about work. I don't even know if you got a teaching job. That's probably why you got rejected. People don't say anything. They don't say jack shit. You know it's true. There is a discrimination that exists for people who wail too much. I'm an SJW. I know. People will never say anything to you up front. I would much rather respect an upfront conversation about stuff. So we can all waste less of each other's time in life. If you cannot do that, forget about it. It's all bogus. They keep blocking. New jobs from coming in, right? And that means arts, right? People in arts complain a lot. It's all fake news, right? If you're complaining about retail, you're not getting a job, dude. Some people, right, they do school full-time. They will get the job because they don't have word of mouth. They're all geared to focus on school. And it doesn't matter if you slack off. You will have a payoff eventually. Right? This is the problem. America's forgotten. Yeah, and people have forgotten. I'm serious right now. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, you guys. If you think retail is not important in your life and you're working subpar while not performing well on anything else, right? While performing, you think you just shelves work? Because a lot of people do that, right? They shelve their work performance. I've noticed it in a lot of college grads. Every year. They go to school, they think they can do work, right? Warehouse work. I don't know. I'm not like the smartest person in the world. But I will say this. I do care, right? I don't live my life by money no more. I still prefer it. I will love it if the six-figure pathway was open to me. But you can't do it while learning in a traditional setting. It doesn't work. Word of mouth gets through, right? Everyone loves it. Playing it safe, right? School is, if you don't have the skills to learn stuff, or the revenues of earning money is completely meaningless. The only thing available to you are side hustles. So if you suck at work, it's not possible. It might happen if you apply long enough, don't get me wrong, but they're going to treat you like garbage. And they're going to send you straight back to retail, unless it's a math field. Yeah, so, and this is the problem with people. They're not going to tell you anything. They'll yell at you, but you know they're going to do something else behind your back. And that's just sad. That's why I can't do it, because if you're working 40 hours and you're just if you're working 40 hours and you're trying to do school, how's that possible? The employer feels angsty, right? I can't get a straight answer, but people feel that in the air. They value people who are good at stuff, right? And then they'll send you back, right? They'll send you back to retail somehow because they want to punish you. Employers do this all the time, and they don't have to say anything. It just happens. People just do it. We used to be more honest about this back then, right? A lot of these companies used to be in the form of mafia gangs, mobs. They used to sell goods to get out of the drug war. Ever wonder how they all slowly faded away? The whole point of mafia groups is so they can branch out to a safer industry. They all do that. JFK, right? I think he's bootlegging. I think some of his companies are officially safe winery companies now. You can't start clean. I've never seen a business start out clean these days. At least any sustainable one that expands, like officially expands. Real estate, I really don't count. Real estate's kind of like bootlegging. It's not, I don't count that. And a lot of these programmers get shelved too if they suck, right? Now let me change that. The reason why programming's not fired because it's too hard to learn. They can't just fire you off immediately. Arts is easy to learn, so they can fire you off away, right? Regardless of how good you are. Right? Even people in arts, how long do they stay? They just torment you. They bounce you away. Now here's the key. If you suck so badly, they may just not even want you back, right? Yeah, it's a tragedy. People should have known better, right? You can't pretend like your work doesn't exist. Like, oh, I'm looking forward to a better future. Well, I forget about cleaning my own backyard, right? No, you can't. And a lot of people just complain. And I didn't want to say anything for a while because I wasn't sure. I would have said something by now if I was certain about why I have reservations. Now I know why I have reservations, right? Right? You want your work employer to pay for your schooling because that's basically what we're having right now. You might as well be honest and go back, right? While having a government loan system, you might as well say, hey, the school is taken over by the private corporation because that's basically what we have right now indirectly. I feel like right now we have too much of an opaque job market. I'm sorry. It's too opaque these days. No one knows how to apologize. We have a society that doesn't know how to say sorry. Everyone says they know. I've never really seen that. Now here's the thing. When you say sorry, it has to be with context. You can't just say, I apologize, right? I'm sorry that this happened, but I still think you did wrong, right? You need to add context. You can't just say sorry with no spine. There needs to be spine in there, right? It doesn't work any other way. Right? You gotta have spine. You can't just completely cave to the other party. It doesn't work. You're no worth to me, even if you say sorry to me, right? Right? If assuming I did wrong, right? That's how life works. That is how life has always worked. Life has always been people using rules as a guide mark. It's not used as like, it's not. Everyone treats social rules like the Ten Commandments. It's not, right? From their misunderstanding of what the Ten Commandments are. Social rules are used as a guidepost to manage your expectations of how to deal with people. It's not meant to be stuff written in stone. Everything else everything else in between those rules is what you have to figure out on your own. Right, so your body, which is made by anxiety and fear, like I've always talked about, it does stem from parenting. People who want to stay in a lane, who want social rules to be in some sort of lane, right? That's not real. It doesn't exist. There's no such thing as a truly true safe space, right? That we always will have the space that we live in is always going to fluctuate. If we want to grab something, there's going to be a period of fluctuation in our safe space where it becomes a danger space, right? Because that's what happens when we're engaging in a transaction or a form of communication. The safe space starts merging because we have to grab resources outside of other people's spaces. And some of those safe spaces offend our safe space, right? Because everyone's safe space is different depending on who you are in life. Right? That's kind of the problem right now. It's going to be dangerous at some point. Because you don't understand what their protocols are and what yours are sometimes, right? Because everything changes depending on... That's why we have edge cases, right? In computer programming, we have to account for things that we do not know about. Right? That's why there's box testing stuff. We do not understand all the rules that exist because new rules get invented within every micro interaction, right? So micro interaction are small groups doing basic chats. Or one person, another person chat. Hey, how's your day, right? Anything can happen. An accident can happen. Some fire can happen. Rules are always guide marks. They are not written in stone. And unfortunately, if you live in a household where they treat it as if it's in stone, because we live in an overly comfortable society, right? That does not actually trust themselves to do anything these days. They always rely on others to do the trust for them, right? It doesn't work. It won't work. It can't work. It won't succeed. I'm actually recording this, trying to see if I can record this on a recorder. Yeah, we just live in a very... If we were more polite, not polite, if we were more honest. See, the thing is, politeness only works when honesty exists. It just doesn't work without honesty. Without honesty, politeness is a waste of time. Because honesty is the ability to say, hey, I'm going to invent some new rules that make this interaction flexible. It makes it work, right? Right? If you got to break rules, you got to experiment around because it doesn't work. Because all these rules are built around certain cases of social interaction. They're not built around all cases. If you don't know that, there's no point. You use politeness as a way to smooth out these ambiguous situations, right? You have to guess as you go along in life. This is why I need to put my safety code on when I'm thinking of school, because if I want to go to school, I'm going to have to quit my job. Right? Amazon, if you're listening to this, I'm quitting. Eventually. To get clerical or something. Or I apply elsewhere, right? While I have a job. That's my only option. I can go advertise other products. But in the meanwhile, I'm going to have to quit because I don't like dealing with the type of overhead where, hey, look, I'm going to go spread a bad word of mouth. Right? About, hey, look, I know it's going to happen because I work fast. I've got enough cues from workers all the time to head home. I probably work fast picking and counting, and I understand what happens if you fail those obligations. People aren't happy. Word of mouth gets bad. Rate doesn't really matter. Once you get to a certain point, it really doesn't matter what your rate is. I'm just here to keep it for employment purposes, right? I friend people I friend managers and higher ups. I wasn't really that serious. I think when I first worked here, I kind of hated my managers. This time around, I'm different now, right? I actually want to keep this job. I'm thinking right now as a floater. I'm not really too prioritized on moving up. Right? If I friend a manager, I'm not, because that means there's emotions, right? When you move people up, because once they are higher up, you have emotions because you are friends with them, and therefore you have sentiments preventing them from firing the manager someday, right? Doesn't matter how long it takes. You want a safe way to move up. Being friends may make you move up faster, but it's not a safe path. Safety to me is more important than money. Or at least, or having a reasonable reason to believe it's safe. This gets dangerous once you have friends, because there may be explosives, there may be whatever, right? Like legitimate bombs, bullets, right? You gotta think about this. I'm friending because I really want to know you better, right? I'm not here because I want to be a manager. Like, I genuinely want to know you, and because I want to keep my job. Now, it'd be great if I move up, but that's not my main reason. In fact, that's at the bottom. This is the sad world we live in. Because if you want to move, if anyone's doing school right now, you can't unless you are willing to take the fire of being a crap worker, and while at the same time having the hounds of Cerberus go give you word of mouth, right? Which are the managers and the other workers. They won't think about it immediately, but people do play the game of rat, right? They do rat each other out. That's me. It's gonna happen. You ever wonder if you're an artist why you don't have a job doing arts or history? It's because you suck at retail, right? Or you suck at your current job. You're probably not the best. You know who it is, okay? If you're getting distracted, you're not at your top of your rate. This is an easy litmus test. If you're chatting with people while working on break and not prioritizing your work for it, we already know where this is going. This is going south, okay? And if you notice you're doing more of that idle time, south already. We are not heading north. Guys, a lot of store owners don't say anything, but they all think like Asians. Okay? People think like this. Right? They may not have, some of the worst weapons in life are not bullets. It's just gossip. Gossip is sometimes more toxic than a bullet, okay? Gossip is more toxic than nukes. People used to know about this back then. You need to know this. If you're a parent and you're saying, oh yeah, my kid can go to school and work. You gotta talk about this first. Assess what the danger is. Can you be the top of your game, at the same time be at the top of your game at school? Or in the mediocre. You can be mediocre too. Right? And the game is not to be at the top for school. Mediocre. My definition top. C+. You gotta be mediocre. At the very least, can you do that? If you can't, forget about it. In my opinion, it's like having sex with a hooker, right? And the hooker basically gives you STDs. That's basically what you're engaging in by doing work and school at the same time. The only real safe path is you get a loan, okay? And you go through school. That's the only real safe path. It's either that or that's the only real safe path that exists. That's why the corporation in the beginning bought out the schools, because the schools knew about this kind of dark relationship. Retail's not happy. You think they care? What's your performance quotas? Fuck your future, right? What's your performance quotas? And I see a lot of people like this, and I'm thinking to myself, school's great, but we need to address this reality first. That if you are not, and this makes people depressed, I know that, right? I'm an SJW, there's a lot of SJWs, they've sort of known this already. They still choose to be social justice warriors. They know damn well people do not say what they mean. If you've had a spat with your manager about working slow, that's not a good sign. And you're going to school of your future. Do not pretend like you have a good future. I know a lot of people do. You know they will. They will come. They will get bullets. They'll say, hey, this employee's shit. Please torment him for me. I'll give you all the money I have. They deserve punishment for failing the corporation. Yes, they do. They all do that. Amazon, Safeway, Target, they all do that. Everyone does that, okay? It doesn't matter what the job pay is. Even the small business owner does that. And even if they don't, they'll give a lot of indirect cues, right? Because a lot of future employers may want to purchase stuff. Because if you have them as an employee, maybe they want discounts. You know word of mouth spreads, okay? Right? Groupon might be like, fuck you, right? Sorry, I'm cussing too much. I'm trying to figure out the safety words. Because we do live in a certain limits. I think SJWs say fuck you too. Yeah, this is a very long discussion. I'm just going to say this. I urge people to really think about this when they want to go to school and work at the same time. They got to think about when you work for a corporation, you basically are signing away your rights to another parent, right? And that parent basically is helping you pay off school. If you want to live in that world, that's fine. Some people can, some don't. You may even be able to get through school, but if you're a mediocre worker, there's going to be a negotiation involved, right? And so many people don't want to admit this out front. You have to go back to the industry that you were employed in while you were in school, in some manner. You want complete independence? Have a transparent conversation. I'm having one right now, assuming this recording works. I will leave, because this is not enough. I'm pounding my boots on the ground. I will leave. This is not enough. $17.30 our Amazon, that is not enough for me. I don't care what Jeff says on his company commandments, okay? That is not enough for anyone. That is not a future. Right? I don't know what the job recruiting world is like. But this is not enough. Okay? I did my time. I'm going to do my time for my employer. Okay? I'm going to pound my name into the ground. I'm going to do the best work I can, but this is not enough. I will file a formal resignation. Whatever reasons I did things, whether it's following the name of the Lord when I quit the first time or doing something else, this is not enough. Right? You can say you can say that you can say certain things, but you can always criticize people for the decisions they make in their lives. And that, but at the end of the day, your decisions are your own. So you got to think about this. Yeah, so I will not go to school because I have to take into account the toxic, not the toxic network, but the way corporations operate. And keep in mind, a lot of corporations are school alumni, right? They contribute a fuck ton to the school. So when people criticize their employer, they're not thinking, right? How much has Bill contributed to any school, really? Even community colleges. You can't just say, hey, look, I'm a shit worker. I hate the way my boss treats me. I'm complaining online. And the alumni, how much have they given to the profs? You got to think about this, where the money goes. They go where the money goes. And if you're using the clubs, the network, they're going where the money goes, dude. Right? They behave based on what that money tells them to do. Or what that interest group tells them to do. And I'm thinking about this, like, I can't balance both. That's too risky. And then what if there's hidden expectations? Because they will give you hidden expectations once you go to school, right? Well, hey, look, you got to kiss the lead's ass, right? Being really honest with you. Do some extra tasks. Are you willing to engage in that kind of negotiation? If you are, great, go. I can't. I'm not capable quite yet. I can't process information fast enough. It's not possible for me. I'd much rather start fresh. Doesn't matter how much money I have in my bank. It's the social liability and social stigma I'm concerned about that grows, right? The social stigma of being incompetent while balancing two full jobs at the same time. So ask people, college people who graduate, if you were shitty at your work, what did you end up getting hired by at the end of the day? And how long has it lasted? Is anyone being honest about this? Even if the person did get the job, how long is that job lasting? Could be temp, could be anything. I don't know. Do I know? And now I will still be resentful of people who move up in the office. But at the end of the day, how much are you willing to sacrifice? I can't. I'm limited, right? I'm limited by my software, my brain. I am limited in general. And other people who might be able to get by being a crappy worker, by the way, you can't. You can't, because social connection is the only thing that matters in life. At least if we're talking about monetary economy. Or you can just go the route of like a GAR where you're like, oh, I'm manly. I'm just going to produce everything all by myself in a farm. And then I don't care about you guys. There's that route, of course. You buy some land. You grow your own fruits and crops. That's the route I want to go. Because I don't really like society. They're very indirect about everything. Because it's like, well, you want to talk about nationalism. Yeah. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about a lot of countries. Nationalism is useful. When you're faced off with a neighboring threat, right? You see a monopoly in the distance. You're being destroyed by them. A private corporation from Europe. You form a nation to fight back against them. It happens. The customer won't give you any chance of buying your goods. And somehow they want a job within their own borders. Do you know how crazy that sounds? But yet people make those decisions all the time. Right? When the company refuses to expand in your borders, but you still buy goods in a different border. What can you do? You form a nation. It's a trading guild. There is real need for nationalism, right? Because it happens. Now, what ends up happening to most countries is people like it, they're too lazy to restructure, so it just becomes a permanent thing. It always starts out as a joke. One day, George Washington sat in a beer tavern pub, and they made jokes with some black mages, right? Does anyone want to found the United States of America as some LLC? Before you know it, it happens. This is how people got stuff done back in the day. People do not get stuff done back in the day with a classroom. That's the way of the lazy guy, okay? That's not real. That has never been real. No, none of that's real. That's just fiction. Anyways, I gotta go end this podcast here.